I feel the need for speed. Ow!
Okay, we're beginning.
I feel
Feel the need.
the need for
Need
speed.
For speed. Took me right into the danger zone. Right into the danger zone.
I want to get right into the danger zone. Talk to me, Goose.
Oh, Niner, this is such a excellent film, superior to the original movie, if you ask me, and really a motivating film that America needs right now.
Yep. Oh, yes. So, and we're going to talk about that very one, Top Gun Maverick. Okay. So, yeah, it's a weird time we live in where, like, Paramount is actually doing pretty well with Sonic and Top Gun Maverick, but Marvel under Disney with Marvel and Star Wars had completely shit the bed with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series being a complete retcon of the original trilogy, and Marvel also blowing up Mr. Fantastic Four Richard Reed's fucking head, and killing off Professor X2 in the Multiverse of Madness.
All within context that's completely out of character. Hey, my buddy here. I'm the smartest man in the universe, and I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna blow you up with his mouth. What mouth?
But
Oh, I shouldn't have told her.
something that has been coming over like 40 years now, that has been in production hell, has to have been, and that we never thought was going to be made. Nobody ever expected, or if it was going to be made, then it was probably just going to be shit like all the other like stuff from the 70s or 80s that we do today. But against all odds, it actually turned out to be one of the best movies of the summer.
It really did. I remember seeing a trailer just passing by and I thought, just another Hollywood rehash. And we have a friend who I'm convinced he pretty much has the same response. And I saw the film, not having seen the original, and just basically as a response to everyone else saying, this movie's really good. No, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
So, saw the film and I thought, they're right. This is a really good film.
Yeah,
I even took time to...
if not probably the only good movie of the summer, possibly.
Possibly. I mean, there were some other great films. I mean, Disney of all people have had a really funny reboot of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers,
Which we both watched, and was basically the modern day Roger Rabbit. But let's stick to Top Gun. This is the one we're talking about, and everything to do. This podcast is dedicated only to Top Gun Maverick. So, let's talk about the cast first. Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hunt. I meant Mitchell Maverick. Maverick. Pete Mitchell Maverick, as his name is. His code name, sign name, and I just with this character, I feel like for some reason all of Tom Cruise's characters, excluding Tropic Thunder, are all exactly the same. I'm not think it's a bad thing. It's just you always associate him with Tom Cruise. You always
a lot of Hollywood actors are like that.
But no, this one, it's not like for the ego. It's more like they all have similar like attributes, like traits of them, that you could not see them played by any other actor except Tom Cruise.
I mean, there's a few exceptions who can do a wide range of roles, but for the most part, people like to cast certain actors into certain roles just because they fit them so well. Keira Knightley for its well romance. Matt Damon fits so well in the thriller genre. Tom Cruise fits so well in the action genre. Yes.
But it's not like it's insulting. I definitely did I'm just making sure of that. But it's like in a way that it's like you can't make this character without Tom Cruise whenever he's playing it. You can't. You can't make his character. You can't with Mission Impossible 4, 5, 6. You can't. No actor is crazy enough to go on the Burj Khalifa and climb it with all practical effects. And fifth, and go into like a water chamber and possibly die from it, like completely going circles. And six, jumping from a halo jump into into Paris. And in this movie, that all the actors had to go to flight academy or like flying school because most of it was all practical. And you have to admire that Tom Cruise. A lot of people, even my brother, said he's a douchebag, but the one thing you can guarantee that he is dedicated to his craft.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that he's, quote, one of the last real Hollywood stars. I think Tom Cruise is one of those people in Hollywood who really cares about their practical effects along the lines of like Christopher Nolan and a few select others.
Yeah, yeah, and speaking of this, even his character, like he's gotten so familiar with the Mission Impossible movies, it kind of like infused into the story because this movie felt like it definitely is Top Gun nonetheless, but it's also Mission Impossible. It has the best attributes of Mission Impossible, which we'll go further into. But let's get back to the cast. Miles Tiller, who played also another Reed Richards and Fan Stick, as its infamy name, but also Whiplash and other movies. And he plays Rooster, the son of Goose, and he does a pretty good job. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a little underplaying it because of course Tom Cruise steals the show and most of it, but I do feel like he's definitely playing a good job. I just feel like it's not overshadowing Tom Cruise. I would say I don't have enough to say as much as for Tom Cruise.
Although I think this is a story that is about how he manages to train up the other cast members to pull off the seemingly, dare I say, impossible mission.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what. And well, now I think that it's good enough to do too because everyone else, it's not that they're forgettable; it's that they're just a supporting cast, and that I guess the real main characters are those two. The actual, with the besides the cameo from Val Kilmer's Iceman, looks like the voice of God went out of him.
Yeah, we're never gonna forget your performances in Prince of Egypt, Val Kilmer. We still love you.
But yeah, I mean, it went out of them, but it's still there. Okay. About the story and plot, we first come into like Top Gun, it's Ethan. It's Maverick going on this Mach 9, Mach 10 to Mach 10, like spaceship like airplane, like this is a Blackbird, like Blackbird that, and going to Mach 10, which definitely fits the character of Maverick, but it feels so much like Ethan Hunt that it's eerily similar to an Ethan Hunt stunt. It's eerily
Wouldn't
similar.
you? Wouldn't the same be said for his original Top Gun depiction of Maverick?
Yes, but that was before he even was in Mission Impossible. It's just that Mission Impossible is just so infused with his career that even it infused in the movie, and that's where the plot, like, it is this Mission Impossible stunt where like Top Gun graduates will go into enemy territory and blow up this nuclear facility, and all having to do in 2 minutes and with two miracle shots. Two planes like firing into the vent and destroy it, and then the two to fire into the nuclear weapons to disarm it completely entirely forever, and then doing a steep jump up 1,000 miles or 100,000 miles up, and that would probably feel like you're imploding. Yep, that's Mission Impossible, and I'm not. That's probably in the best way possible. That's in the best way possible.
Mission Impossible, but with planes. It's almost as if Tom Cruise is training a future generation of Mission Impossible stars.
Or maybe a future generation of last generation of no, or what you said. Remember what you said, the last true movie stars. It's probably those two. And
I
remember
will
what
not
you
be
said,
the
like,
last generation.
also in a meta perspective, they even said this in the movie. Like, they said that why don't you sign up to be a senator or an admiral, and you or retire? You did not accept either of them. You stayed a captain, and you said the future's coming, and sooner or later it will be without you. And he said, not today. So
He said maybe so, but not today. It is not this day.
not this day. Like, that does show how authentic that this story is. And even like before we watched the movie, like before he said in this like little expose, like saying like how authentic the movie is, and I swear the few CGI moments are with some of the airplane maneuvers and making Tom Cruise at least slightly younger, because in the expose he definitely looked aged, or either that it was filmed prior to 2022. It was filmed, so yeah.
Right. I was gonna ask. I wonder why they would de-age his face if he's meant to be the age he is in this film.
No, it's not that. It's slightly de-aged because there's actually one of the characters, Charlie, wasn't in this movie because of how ugly she got. No offense to her, but that's why they place it with Michelle, like Connerly's character. But Tom Cruise showed a little like age, like, in the expose. So I was wondering, was most of this like pre-shotted before 2022, or if there was shots that, or if they did still need to shoot for 2022, did they, or for 2021, and did they need to DH him? And I wonder how the hell are they gonna do Mission Impossible Part 1 like further down the road, like. Seriously, I know that's a topic for another day, but like the seventh one, and they're doing part 1 to it. What is this, Attack on Titan?
Yeah. Okay, this is official. Tom Cruise is going to take out the founding Titan. That's why we need the part 1 and the
No,
part
Attack
2.
Titan.
Attack Titan. Okay, Tom Cruise is going to take part in that Attack on Titan film that's going to be made like live action. He's going to do the real stunts. He's going to make like this real grappling hook material and just launch himself.
Okay, we're getting off track.
Yeah.
Okay. So, about the movie, like yeah, it is the one thing it is completely devoid of. That is a bliss to me and Callum. It is devoid of one very, very important thing that has been plaguing Hollywood for probably centuries now. And that is identity
Centuries?
politics, wokeness, like, I'll exaggerate.
Okay, fair enough. I take things literally. It goes over my head. Nothing goes over my head. Anyway, yeah. The best thing about this film is that it doesn't even feel like it has a political agenda of any kind, for or against anything. It's just its own movie, and that's great. It doesn't have to appeal to this specific thing that will alienate some other people. It's a film that everybody needs to see, and everyone's gonna walk out the theater and feel
Yeah.
all the more grateful to have seen. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of the patriotism, like, it does have for this country. Okay, I'm gonna go a little controversial here, but I feel like that the wokeness I despise, but there is a certain thing that they're right about, is that the stagnation of America and how America is stagnating. It is not, if it once was great or it's never was great at all, it's definitely showing now more than ever. And I feel like I don't respect this country at all for anything like system-wise or like horrific acts. But I do respect the accomplishments of like what we've done. Like, hell, I don't like dictatorships, but at least with them, the Nazi scientists at least came to America and worked on Operation Manhattan, which led to the nuclear bombs, but was horrible, but would eventually lead to the NASA project to the moon. So I don't like dictatorships or democracies, but at least you can acknowledge that whichever like country you're in, patriotism like or hatred of it, at least you can be patriotic of its achievements, because I feel like that America has definitely innovated with, and it definitely shows in this movie, especially with the Blackbird, of how technologically advanced that Blackbird is, of how like and how interstellar it is. That definitely it does show the patriotism in not in the truth, justice, and the American way like Superman, but more like patriotism, more like what we can achieve, or especially in the story of what these pilots can achieve in just 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think that might just be a good summary of the sequel in general. I mean, I after seeing the Maverick, I remember seeing the first Top Gun film, and I can actually say with confidence, and this isn't often said about many sequels in general, but this sequel's actually a big improvement over the first one, if you ask me,
Mm-hmm.
because it gets a bit more personal with like the cast and the people that Maverick is trying to train, and it's great in that aspect. And the first Top Gun, it was sort of formulaic, and it was good for its time. But this really improves on it, and to the point where it stands out as its own film. So in that regard, this is like nostalgia done right. Like if you watch it on its own as its own film, you can get what the film's trying to depict. Oh, he was friends with this person. Now he feels guilty about bringing his son on board because his he got his father killed. Oh, he's had this deep friendship with Iceman and so on and so forth. And it's interweaved into the plot to the way that okay, you can understand where Maverick's coming from and the pressure he has to train people up and how it eventually builds to the finale. So in that regard, you might not necessarily need to watch the first Top Gun film, but this film it doesn't degrade the first film in any way. It certainly, like you said about America, it certainly
Man,
celebrates. Yeah,
and so it's weird that most movies are trash these days and they're Hollywood, but that a sequel that's somehow better with so many Disney sequels being shit and actually one actually doing it even better, improving the best of modern and improving over the past without completely fucking it over. That is in itself in a movie. It you know how the miracle shots in itself is a miracle shot or like a miracle nuke.
yeah. Again, I was not expecting this movie to succeed as it did, but it did.
Hmm. And also about the commanding officers and how I definitely seen this like Air Force commercial like that this they were fighting the stereotype of the hotheads, you know, of but I feel like that I feel like there are a lot of pilots out there who are hotheads and are have egos, but I feel like it definitely doesn't like go overboard here. Maybe it went overboard in the first movie, but definitely nowhere near here. It definitely nowhere near here. And especially for the commanding officers, like none of them are treated like none of them are treated like how, liberals would treat like commanding officers like they're bad, they're mean, they hate you, we're gonna beat them anyway. There's just like one scene where like Tom Cruise I mean Maverick literally stole a fighter pilot, a pilot, no, a, a fighter, and literally prove that the mission can be done with his lead, and the military officer did not scold him or did not completely like did not completely like like send him out and then some bullshit like out of the minute would save him. No, it was actually he actually kind of in a thing that he said, I don't know if I should court-martial you or actually make you team leader. And then Tom Cruise was like hesitant, like he was about to defend himself, and then the other guy's like, I think he meant a rhetorical question. It's a rhetorical question. Yeah, it definitely treated, and John Hamm, that was John Hamm, and it was a great performance in that. Yeah, that he definitely did. It definitely treats like all the people, and there's this black supporting character, Hondo, not Hondo Hanaka from Star Wars Captain Jack Sparrow. Hondo, this guy who definitely has been with like Maverick, like with the Mach 9 mission, and probably is here for support with him, just good friends with him, and no gayness, no needed for that, just friends, just good supporter.
Aye. I think in that regard you are that's a good point. I mean, you'd think Hollywood usually depicts like the big authority figures as sort of these douchebags that need to be
Or
told off.
Thanases where they have stupid plans but are have the illusion of complexity when they're really just completely lazily written just to fill an agenda that of nature and environmentalists.
Aye. And I suppose there's a fine balance because, in all fairness, like Tom Cruise's character was quite stubborn in the original film, but has clearly matured. But there's that little rebel in him that's still
That's
willing
still
to.
there, and like he takes. But first, when we saw him come up to the graduates, he was like, "Have you read these pages inside and out?" Yes. We thought he was gonna be like, actually, he's gonna follow it, but nope, he throws it away. But that shows that, and the instructors like, oh god, that like they're worried that like, oh god, we made a mistake.
Aye. I think that little rebel in him is indicated even when we're first introduced to him, testing
But
out
when
that.
he was definitely instructing him, even throughout the whole movie, he still was instructing them with dignity, nonetheless.
Mhm. Yeah, I've gotta love those training sequences. If you're going to see Top Gun Maverick, I insist you see it on the big screen, IMAX if possible, because there
I
are
saw
some
Dolby
scenes.
Cinema. I saw Dolby Cinema.
Nice. That there was just some scenes with the planes where the way they whoosh by, just sort of vroom, really bursts into your body.
Do you know
Like
what
there's a
Dolby
scene,
Cinema is?
Adobe Cinema. That's not like IMAX, is it?
No, it's actually it's like this it's like this surround sound room where it's a big screen,
Right.
but it's nowhere near as IMAX. But it's like and the chairs move. It's higher resolution. It's like yeah,
Ah, nice. Oh, that would be amazing because
it
there's
was.
just that some scenes that would enhance the experience. Because even when my cinema, like the View Cinema I go to, pretty standard cinema but big screen, the sound was really effective. Like there's this one scene where Maverick is training the people flying the planes, and then he sneaks up behind them, and then he just goes like, phew, and the people go, whoa, he's good. And when he whooshes by, you really feel that speed like go right into you. So like, and you just lean back like, whoa, it's incredible.
Yeah. And it's that okay. And also back to the drama. Like it's with Rooster like hates Maverick because he pulled his papers from the flight academy and that it sent him back for 4 years. And it's interesting that it would be great if there was a past sequel, or they did a sequel in the past that did definitely show his place at Top Gun. But I'm glad that that's what this movie is for, front and center, him as an instructor, but also at a leader at the same time, also in a mission.
Yeah. They also call back to several original scenes, which reestablish Maverick's pressure in teaching Rooster. There's other scenes where Rooster is a bit pressured, even exposed emotionally at times by his own fellow colleagues, which puts more pressure into how Maverick is going to train up these people. And the side characters, while obviously not having as much screen time as Maverick and Rooster, they certainly have their effective roles to play in regards to this whole update.
And one of them looks like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
What the Game of Thrones. All right. Some of them fall into some archetypes, but it's nothing too distracting. And in light of like the modern Hollywood, I'm impressed that you can have this diverse cast who's quite cooperative, and they don't shove the whole diversity message down your throat. That they're just they come from these backgrounds and they're not shoving it down your throat. They're just in it together, and that's how they're going to do the operation. That's much needed these days.
And I want to say something that the comedy, it definitely is better than the MCU style comedy where they just like completely joke, quip. It's just more joke and like something funny happens to the character. But in this, like, there's this one scene where they think that where Tom Cruise, like, I mean, Maverick gets shot down and lands, and also then Rooster definitely Rooster like saves him and crashes and lands, and then Maverick is running him and then pushes him and it's like, what are you doing? I was doing exactly what you told me to not think do. And it was quite fun. It was actually quite funny because it's actually situational, even though it did not interrupt the seriousness of the situation, but it kind of gave you a little mellow because because you definitely knew that he survived because they definitely showed the parachute that he was still alive, so it did definitely give an appropriate time for like laughing because they're now stuck and they're now what are we gonna do now? It's not desperate. The dire situation is now desperate.
Another reason to watch this on the big screen, when funny moments happen, you'll hear all the audience genuinely laugh.
And we've not heard that. I have not heard that in so long.
Yeah, there's 3 distinct scenes where I recall that happening. Like, the first scene where I heard the audience have a good laugh and I was laughing with them was when Maverick had survived, got out of testing the Mach 10 plane, and he's clearly knackered and just getting a drink of water, and everyone's looking like,
and
he's just too exhausted to speak.
Yeah. And it definitely did remind me of like in Kill Bill, like with when she definitely got out of the grave and then asked for water from a diner. And
where am I? And
also, this thing about Anthony Mackie that he once said that movies used to be an experience that you used to go to them and used to watch and actually like experience them. Now it's just streaming and like it's repeating and that you're going just to support a superhero, not the actor. And also, I might have had some rough parts of had bad judgment, but I do respect him, and I feel like that Anthony Mackie's also like Tom Cruise in that he's one of the last, like, he might not be the last actually working as what Anthony Mackie calls a working actor who does it for the work.
Right. Certainly there are people who care about their craft, and I never would have thought that Tom Cruise would be associated with like making films that were exceptionally good. But hey, why else would we be here right now?
Well, he did make a movie with Brad Bird, and he also did basically carry the whole Mission Impossible franchise on his back with help from Simon Pegg.
Oh, right. Yeah. You people keep saying you should look at the behind the scenes of how this movie is made. They managed to get these widescreen cameras just barely fitting into the jet planes to give you the authentic flight experience.
And few of them were CGI. The Cobra maneuver, like the callback to the callback to the original movie Top Gun with the bird, like with he did with Brewster. That was definitely CGI, but I love what they did was they both did the maneuver and then went down to the ground. They definitely tested each other. I definitely, yeah, that was.
Aye. There's other callbacks like Tom Cruise flying upside down above some of the planes.
That had to be CGI. That had to be CGI though.
Aye, partially, or maybe all of it. I guess it's so immersive you couldn't really tell at the moment unless you were paying attention. Man, it must have been quite scary to fly the planes at first, but they must have got it eventually.
Yes,
To do
because
the
they had to go to the academy. They had to do academy for, and also Tom Cruise is way more experienced because he had to do it exactly for Top Gun. They had to do that for Top Gun, and with 40 years of being more experience, that he could have been like, "Oh, this is too easy. It's too easy." Yeah,
Right.
it does fit into the character of Maverick. Definitely, make more authentic.
Certainly
And the
makes
Russians, their enemies, actually, it's funny enough that they definitely don't. There's not this one big bad or like this militia. They don't even show probably any of the faces. They're actually they don't show any of the enemies' faces. They're just vague. That's it, and that does not ruin anything. But it's kind of refreshing that you don't have to think about the enemy too much. You just have to think about surviving. That's it.
the way I see it is that the enemies are left vague on purpose so that there's more focus on the cast
Yeah,
surrounding
there's no
Maverick.
us versus them, like the good versus evil, just that we have to survive this impossible mission that could send us to our deaths.
Yeah, it's more. It's not so much this big epic battle. It's the film sets itself more as if okay, we're preparing the next generation. We're preparing them for a test
And we're
where.
preparing for them to possibly die.
hmm And it's interesting about the possibility of death. Like, I was expecting at least some people to die, especially when they brought up the fact that his Maverick's friend Goose died in the past. I was actually expecting someone to die in the past, but I guess it was a pleasant surprise to
Yeah,
find
I
out
think
that.
that was the mission, like what Tom Cruise, even like Maverick's character, he if he let one person die, it's on him. So that's basically what he has to triumph, getting everyone home. That's what he always stated through the movie: get everyone home, and he accomplished that. So I think that that's very good that they did not kill anyone off.
So in that regard, that makes this film much more uplifting, as well as somewhat unpredictable. And not only do the cast members learn and survive, but Maverick succeeds as a mentor figure, as well as handling the ghosts of his past. In
Mm.
that regard,
Uh huh. Mm.
I mean, there's several scenes where just where he's trying to build a sense of team building, even with something as small as the people doing the very silly thing of daring themselves to do push-ups if they fail a certain training mission, or going out to play with a ball on the beach with
Yeah.
sunglasses.
Okay. I have two things. One, with in the club or in the diner that Michelle Connery's character, Connery, whatever, that Rooster like did this solo on the piano. Goodness gracious, great balls of
Great
fire!
balls of fire.
That could have easily came off as pandering, but I felt it was very sentimental because Tom Maverick was outside looking prospectively and reminiscing of Rooster and how it generally does not feel like it's pandering, like, oh, it's the audience for the audience. No, it's for him. It's for Maverick.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I say this film stands out on its own, because if you haven't seen the original, you see why this particular moment would haunt Maverick in regards to his relation with this specific person, how he relates to Goose. Um, This is quite astonishing. This is how
And
you do
also
nostalgia, people.
about his love relationship, I thought they should have maybe gave a little like something that why Charlie's character was not in the movie, like they had a falling out or they're just nothing. And I'm not against that. I was a little concerned for, but it's a little forgivable now knowing about the actress, how she's not up for the role anymore, and they have to move. And also the romance is not bad. It's just that I would like a little more explanation or like about the falling out and then how he met her, someone new, and someone to move on.
Take my breath away. Yeah.
Or the lady hold my hand.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, the music. That's something else about this film. The music is really amazing. I mean, yeah, of course, you have the awesome sort of 80s, 90s style power ballad music
And you
here.
have the highway to the danger zone, of course. You can't have that. You can't have Top Gun movie without that.
Quite well. I mean, not that Top Gun's had an entire franchise up until now, but Danger Zone's always going to be associated with Top Gun. That's for sure. Awesome song. But I also like how there's extra orchestral music here, which really adds to the sentimental tone of this. I suppose it's often used in other movies for the sake of reminiscence, but I guess it's one of those kinds of cliches that I don't really get tired of when the music gets quite sentimental and grand. Certainly makes the mood a bit more grand and makes you think, yeah, to be there and to think about that and what could have possibly happen next. Yes.
So, anything else?
Motivational music and the cinematography is also great, even like far back as the scene where Maverick is flying the plane. He sees an awesome like sunset as he's flying, or there's other amazing scenes. I mean, the cinematography is great even on the planes. Again, they have
And
to get those.
speaking of the plane, when Rooster and Maverick had to steal an F-18, like, or F-14, yes, it's F-14, that that it kind of reminded me of like Pirates of the Caribbean, like with Rooster being like Will, how, and Maverick being like Jack, of how Jack knew Rooster's father and worked with him, like how Bill
Yeah.
Turner was like Goose. And also they both
Yeah.
died at sea.
All right. Let's see. That's right. That's right.
This Goose is not saved by Davy Jones.
Whoever left behind stays behind.
So it was definitely that similar scenario, and seeing the F-14, they having to steal that from the enemy, definitely reminded me of that.
Thank you, Commodore. Yes.
Commandeer. We're gonna commandeer that fighter.
What else is there to say about the film? I guess by the time all the action is over, like you feel great having seen it.
Yeah, it's, and I guess we're in the home stretch for this podcast, and we're just getting out the last thoughts. It's like this movie had a billion to trillion to zillion chance of actually happening and succeeding, and it actually did it. Exactly this how much the chances of success, it actually turned it into the chances for success.
Who would have thought that this 80s movies modern Hollywood reboot would actually be the #1 film of the world right now as of summer
More
2022.
than Avengers Endgame or all those MC or MCU movies ever could be.
I mean, Endgame was just a sensation when it came out like a few years ago, and
Wait,
that's
even now
gonna.
though.
Okay, I mean, not right now. But I mean,
But
honestly,
what do
I
you
think
think of what this movie, like 2 years or 3 years or probably 10 years from now?
Well, I suppose the difference between Maverick and Endgame is that people might get a little bit tired of Endgame, not by the fault of Endgame's own existence, but just with the fact that Marvel keeps making content which just can't live up to what Endgame established. Whereas Maverick was this film made out of a labor of love. Not that Endgame wasn't a film made of a labor of love after so many years. I mean, it clearly was like a whole decade's worth of character building. Yeah, yeah. It's just that in light of the constant husks, as it were, that Hollywood keeps churning out year after year, and with all these remakes and sequel after sequel, and all these attempts to try to cash in on nostalgia, even like something as
It's
recent
iconic. They keep bringing new ways, celebrate mediocrity, but if someone's genuinely exceptional.
Yeah, like even with some new releases like Predator Prey, you can really sense that they're really trying to get those member berries activated.
Member berries.
Hey, remember this? Remember that?
Hey,
Oh
remember
yeah, that. Remember this?
Remember how it was so good? Remember Legend of Korra, how that was so good? Actually,
Hey, remember Arnold
Legend of Korra,
Schwarzenegger?
actually. Wait, you're supposed to!
Yeah. With all these attempts and trying to combine the magic of the past with these cringeworthy, obvious agendas, they're failing time after time after time. Maverick should not have worked, and yet it did.
And it will probably be remembered more than any of those movies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be looking forward to getting this on DVD. Or
Hell, actually,
Blu-ray.
I bought the whole damn. Or maybe I'll buy it on DVD. I haven't bought. I usually buy stuff on digital, but maybe I'll actually buy this on 4K DVD.
4K. And you know what? I suppose if you really want to make the most of it, find a mate who has some kind of man cave where they have a big screen and surround sound.
You can
Or
always see it on VR. You can always see it on VR.
oh yeah, I suppose there's that too.
Hell, actually, big screen is owned by mostly Paramount, so you can probably rent that on there.
Paramount seems to be finding a lot of success as of late, except for the Halo TV series, which I heard was not that great. They're doing well with Sonic. They're doing well with Top Gun Maverick. This might just be the comeback that Paramount needs, apparently, as far as I'm aware.
Good for them. Good for them. Okay, you want to end it up right there?
Well, I suppose we could, but I think we need to end it off in style.
Okay, let's do
Okay.
it. She had a one, she had a two. She had a one, down a two. She had a us, but no. Goodness gracious, great fire! Now you try.
Get these sunglasses.
No,
That's what I'm gonna say.
you do the piano. Now you do it.
I don't know the lyrics.
She
Goodness
had a one,
gracious, great
she
balls
had a
of fire.
two. Goodness gracious, great
Gracious, great balls
fire!
of fire. There we go. I probably
Okay,
need to go to some American beach pub and
Okay,
say
never pouring off.
yeah. Goose, Golden Goose signing off. Yeah.
Is this your idea of fun, Mav? Greetings. Watch the birdie.